So greetings everyone. Welcome to another lecture of chemical kinetics, and in this lecture we will study about the rate of radioactive decay. So what is radioactivity? As we all know, radioactivity is the process by which any unstable nucleus loses energy in the form of radiation. And this decay or this radioactive disintegration depends directly upon the nature of radioactive substance and total amount of radioactive substance. And this radioactivity is independent of temperature and pressure. So let us consider this reaction in which reactant A is converted to products. Let us suppose N0 is the number of atoms of A, that is the reactant originally present. That means it is the initial concentration of reactant A. N is the concentration of reactant present at any instant of time, like after 10 minutes or 20 minutes or 10 seconds we are noting down the concentration. So N is the concentration present at any instant of time. So how we can write the rate of disintegration? Rate of disintegration is written as general हम कैसे लिखते हैं dx upon dt, but here we have defined the concentration in terms of n, so we will write dn upon dt. It is directly proportional to the concentration of reactants, that is n, and why minus? Because it is reactant and concentration of reactant decreases with time. So removing this proportionality sign, we will introduce the rate constant, that is K. Here this rate constant will be called as decay constant or disintegration constant. And this is your equation number 1. So taking dt on this side and n on this side, we will get the equation minus K dt is equal to dn upon n. This is your equation number 2. So K dt is equal to, taking minus on this side, we will get minus dn upon n. So let us suppose if dt is equal to 1 second, then value of K will be equal to minus dn upon n. So value of K we have got as minus dn upon n. This is your equation number 3. So from this equation we can define our disintegration constant or decay constant. So it can be defined as fraction of total number of atoms which disintegrate in 1 second at any instant of time. This will be called as decay constant or disintegration constant. Now integrate the equation number 2. This was your equation number 2, dn upon n is equal to minus k dt, and we will integrate it by putting this integration signs. So what we will get, ln of n is equal to minus kt plus c. This c is the integration constant, and as soon as c is introduced we have to find its value by the same condition. Let us suppose at time t is equal to 0, that is when the reaction was not started, value of n is equal to n0, that is the initial concentration. So putting these value in this equation, kt will become 0 because time is 0, n will be equal to n0. So value of c will be equal to n0. So putting the value of c in above equation, we will get ln of n is equal to minus kt plus ln of c is equal to n0. So ln of n0. So ln of n, taking n0 on this side, ln of n minus ln of n0 is equal to minus kt. Now basis minus हो रहा है, so basis same, we can write in this form, ln of n over n0 is equal to minus kt. This is your equation number 5. Taking ln of on this side, n upon n0 is equal to e raised to power minus kt. So n is equal to n0 into e raised to power minus kt. After equation number 5, next step is ln of n0 over n. We have reversed this, is equal to, so minus sign will be diminished, k is equal to kt. Taking natural log, 2.303 log n0 upon n is equal to k. This equation is same which we derived earlier for first order kinetics, that is 2.303 upon t log a over a minus x, that is equal to k. Here we have missed this t to 2.303 upon t log n0 upon n. So from this equation we can see here n0 is the initial concentration which represents a, n is the concentration at any instant of time which represents a minus x. So we can say that radioactive disintegration or radioactive decay, they follow first order kinetics. So what is the half-life period of radioactive reaction? Half-life period is time in which half of the original substance is disintegrated. So at t is equal to t half, value of n will be equal to n half of initial concentration, that is n0. So putting this value in the equation of radioactivity, we will get k is equal to 2.303 upon t half log n over n0 upon 2. So On solving this, we will get this equation T half is equal to 0.693 upon K. From this, we can see that T half of radioactive disintegration is independent of the initial concentration of the radioactive substance which is taken. That is the reactant which is taken. So half-life, we can say that half-life is the measure of radioactivity. Shorter is the half-life period, lesser is the half-life period, so greater is the number of disintegrations and greater is its radioactivity. Next is relation between half-life and initial amount of radioactive substance, that is the initial concentration. So we can say after one half-life period, amount of substance left, initial concentration, if let us suppose if it is N0, then after one half-life amount of substance left will be half of the initial concentration, that is half of N0. After two half-lives, amount of substance left will be half of this, that is N0 upon 4. We can write it as N0 upon 2 raised to power 2. After 3 half-life, amount of substance left will be half of this, that is N0 upon 8. So we can write it as N0 upon 2 raised to power 3. So we can easily relate that amount of substance left after n half-life periods. N is the half-life period. We can write this formula, that is N0 upon 2 raised to power n, where n stands for the number of half-lives. So this is the relation between number of half-life and initial concentration of the radioactive substance. So here we are defining another term, that is the average life of radioactive substances. Why this average life was introduced? Because it is meaningless to talk about the total life of the radioactive element, because the total life of radioactive element is infinity. For example, in case of rhodium, if we consider half-life of rhodium is 1620 years. So let us suppose if 40 gram of rhodium is taken, after 1620 years, it will be left to 20 grams. Then after 1620 years, it will be left to 10 gram. After 1620 years, it will be left to 5 grams. Another 1620 years, it will be left to 2.5 grams. So time required for the disintegration of whole of the radioactive element is infinity. So the term average life was introduced. Average life is written as lambda, which is equal to 1 upon K. K is the decay constant or disintegration constant. And as we know that value of K is equal to 0.693 divided by T half. So putting this value in above equation, we will get lambda is equal to 0.693 T half divided by 0.693. On solving this, we will get lambda is equal to 1.44 into T half. So we can easily say that average life is equal to 1.44 times of half-life period. So I hope this is clear that why the term average life was introduced. So now we will discuss about the units of radioactivity. So radioactivity is defined in terms of Curie, that is Curie, written as Ci. What is Curie? Curie is the amount of radioactive substance which has decay rate of 3.7 into 10 to power 10 disintegration per seconds. That is how much amount of radioactive substance is showing 3.7 into 10 to power 10 disintegrations in 1 second. That amount of radioactive substance will be called as 1 Curie. For example, let us consider that 1 gram of radium, it disintegrates at the rate of 3.7 into 10 to power 10 disintegrations per second. So we can say that 1 Curie of radium is equal to 3.7 into 10 to power 10 disintegrations per second. And 1 millicurie will be, for millicurie we will multiply this by 10 to power minus 3. 10 to power minus 3. So we will get 1 millicurie is equal to 3.7 into 10 to power 7 disintegration per second. And what are the SI units of radioactivity? SI units are Rutherford, which is written as RD, or Becquerel, written as BQ. So we can define that 1 Rutherford is equal to amount of substance which undergoes 10 to power disintegration per second. 1 second में 10 to power 6 integration per second disintegrations अगर substance दिखा रहा है, that amount of substance is called as 1 Rutherford. So 1 Rutherford is equal to amount of substance which shows 10 to power 6 disintegrations per second. and 1 becquerel is equal to 1 disintegration per second. That is amount of substance which shows 1 disintegration per second. And relation between Curie, Rutherford and becquerel can be written as 1 Curie is equal to 3.7 into 10 to power 4 Rutherford, and 1 Curie is equal to 3.7 into 10 to power 10 becquerels. Next is radioactive equilibrium. What is radioactive equilibrium? Let us consider this chain reaction in which A, radioactive substance A, is converted to B, which is further converted to C, and which is further converted to D, and so on. So we can see that A disintegrates into B, so the concentration of B will increase. But the reaction will not stop at B. We can see that it is a chain reaction and B is rapidly converted to C. B rapidly disintegrates into C. So we can say that concentration of B is high, but B is converted to C. So we can say that B is in steady state. Steady state means as soon as B is formed, B is converted to next product, that is C. So let us suppose Na, Nb, Nc are the number of atoms present in the steady state, and Ka, Kb and Kc are the disintegration constants of these. So we can write that disintegration constant of A is Ka and Na is the number of atoms present in the steady state. For B we can write Kb and Nb. For C we can write Kc and Nc. So we can write Na upon Nb is equal to Kb upon Ka. And as we know that K is directly proportional to half-life period. So putting this value of K in this equation, we will get Na upon Nb is equal to T half of A divided by T half of B, and Na upon Nb is equal to 1 upon Ka divided by 1 upon Kb, which is further equal to lambda A and divided by lambda B. So next topic is what are the various methods to determine the order of the reaction. First method to determine the order of the reaction is integrated rate equation, which we have already done. We have derived the integrated rate equation for zero order, first order and second order reaction in our earlier lectures, in our previous lectures. Second method to determine the order of the reaction is differential equation or Van 't Hoff method. So for this we can write rate of the reaction dx upon dt is directly proportional to the concentration of reactants raised to power n. Rate is written as R is equal to, removing this sign, we will write the rate constant K into C raised to power n. So if we want to compare two different reactions, rate of reaction 1 is equal to K into C1 raised to power n. C1 is the concentration of reactants in first reaction, and R2 is equal to K into C2 raised to power n. So dividing both of them, R1 over R2 is equal to C1 over C2 divided raised to power n. Taking log on both sides, log R1 over R2 is equal to log C1 over C2 raised to power n. And n will come here, n log C1 upon C2. So solving this equation, we will get the value of n. So from this equation, we can determine the order of reaction when rate constant of two reaction and concentration are given. Second method to determine the order of the reaction is half-life period. As we know that half-life period is directly proportional to 1 upon A raised to power n minus 1, where n stands for the order of the reaction. So let us compare two reactions. For first reaction, half-life is T half of first reaction is equal to 1 upon A1 raised to power n minus 1. And for second reaction, it is this one. So dividing both the half-lives, we will get this equation. Taking log on both sides, log is equal to T half of 1 over T half of 2 is equal to n minus 1 log A2 over A1. So in solving this equation, we will get the order of the reaction, that is n is equal to 1 plus log T half of 1 minus log T half of 2 divided by log A2 minus A1, log A1. Third method to determine the order of the reaction is Ostwald isolation method. In this method, determination of order with respect to one reactant is done at a time. For this, concentration of all the reactants is taken in excess, except one. Only one concentration is not taken in excess. Rest all the reactants, concentration of all the reactants is taken in excess. And the reactant which is not taken in excess, that reactant is called as isolated reactant. So process is repeated for all the reactants and total order is equal to sum of order of all the isolated reactants. That means every reactant is isolated one by one, and then order with respect to that reactant, that is reactant which is isolated, is find out, and then the total order we can calculate by the sum of order of all the isolated reactants. So we can say that it is based upon the principle that reactant which are in excess, their concentration will remain constant. So variation in rate will be due to the concentration of reactant whose concentration is small, that is isolated reactant, and we have isolated each reactant one by one. So order with respect to each reactant can be calculated. So let us suppose we have this reaction, A moles of A reacts with B moles of B and C moles of C to gives us the product. Let us suppose alpha is the order of reaction with respect to reactant A, beta is the order of reaction with respect to reactant B when B is isolated, and gamma is the order of reaction with respect to reactant C when C is isolated. So rate of the reaction will be equal to K into concentration of A raised to power alpha into concentration of reactant B raised to power order of B that is beta into concentration of reactant C that is raised to power gamma. So overall order will be sum of the orders of all the isolated reactants, that is alpha plus beta plus gamma. So in this reaction, first we will isolate the reactant A, and then order with respect to reactant A was find out, which was alpha. Then we will isolate the reactant B, and then the order will be beta, and then we will isolate the reactant C and order will be gamma, and the total order or overall order will be the sum of order of all the sum of the order of all the isolated reactants. So this is how we can find out the overall order with the help of Ostwald isolation method, in which each reactant is isolated one by one and order with respect to the isolated reactant is calculated. Thank you.